Hello and welcome to an album a day, day 129, going through my vinyl collection one album or so at a time. Today we're looking at the fourth release from this artist. This one is from 1977. Their first was in 1971. Originally I only owned two by them, and currently I have just the one, because the other one, honestly, I could get it, but I never even listened to it when I had it before. This one I'm pretty sure I must have gotten as a gift for Christmas or birthday or just some random event, because it's one of the first albums that I owned. Now I know I said that was Journey, but that was the first album I bought. This would be one that I was given as a gift as a young child. And we were talking, of course, about the 77 release from the Muppets, The Muppet Show. Interesting cover. Excuse me, very much from the set of their television show, which was very, very popular back in the day. It came on in the early evening, if I remember right, like maybe 7 o'clock, I want to say. Don't know what station, couldn't tell you, but I remember I watched it religiously because I enjoyed the music. I enjoyed the theater of it all. But going back and listening to this album now is a really interesting experience, because I see how much of the time it was, where at the time, it was the time. So you don't really think about things like that. It's like when you're in the 80s, you don't think, oh, this is 80s music. You don't really come to that conclusion until some time later. This is, I think, the only... pretty sure this is the only record that I have on Pyre Records, but I love that color scheme on the sticker. The album visually is in beautiful shape, but it plays like shit. Tons of skips. On the first side, almost the entire way through, I'm hearing an entire other signal coming through. I don't know if it was pressed too close together. It doesn't look like it. But yeah, it's really weird, almost unlistenable on side A. Side B's got a few skips on the beginning. The rest plays pretty well. But that's okay, because this isn't something that's going to be on my turntable a whole lot. It's really more of a nostalgic thing. But there's some interesting tracks on here. I can't remember what they all are, because this is the first time I've listened to this in 40 years probably. The Muppet Show theme, though, that opens it is basically like the theme from the show, but done in the studio with a little bit of a live feeling, like you're with them while they're recording this album. So it's not exactly the show the music is, but the comedy of it isn't. Mississippi Mud is just weird, and of course you got to have Phenomena. I think the story I heard about that was something like they're like, just write a not completely nonsensical and catchy tune, and that is exactly what that song is. It means absolutely nothing. The Great Gonzo Eats a Rubber Tire to Flight of the Bumblebee. I used to listen to this all the time when I was a kid because I loved Flight of the Bumblebee. The tire chewing sounds are just, they work, early sound design and all, but it's just kind of weird. Mr. Bassman, I don't remember what that was. Coddleston Pie, man, I don't know what the hell, but that is just a weird little tune. Really weird. The Amazing Marvin Suggs and, The Amazing Marvin Suggs and his Muppaphone play Lady of Spain. That's an interesting one. Worth a listen, I would say. Pachalakafaka. I don't remember what that is now, but it's barely pronounceable. Lydia the Tattoo Lady, very popular song. It's like you could hear like a barbershop quartet singing it, but here we get Kermit. And then one of the most memorable songs, I used to listen to this all the time as a kid. This is because it was like the song that really isn't comedy. It's actually like an emotional, touching song. And you guys know me. I love a good vibe, and it's something that I can connect with emotionally. Kermit's nephew, Robin, singing Halfway Down the Stairs. A really interesting concept. Yes, this is a kid's album. Yes, this is mostly comedy. But when you actually start to think about the lyrics of this song, it's pretty interesting and well worth a listen. Very well sung. I don't know who it was that did it, but it just says sung by Kermit's nephew, Robin. Don't know who played Kermit's nephew. I didn't show you the back. Well, on the back we get a somewhat breakdown of who does what, the production, and the song list and everything, obviously. Does it say who played Kermit's? We've got Jim Henson did Kermit the Frog, but he didn't do Robin. Jerry Nelson did did Robin. Okay, that means nothing to anybody here. So second side, we get Tenderly. That one was skipping all the way through, so I couldn't really listen to it. I'm in Love with a Big Blue Frog. I really couldn't listen to, but the first one I could listen to. It's probably one of the weirdest songs I've ever heard. I vaguely remember this song. It's called Tit Willow. Yes, Tit Willow. And that is emphasized and repeated gratuitously through the entire song. I have no idea what the hell it's about. Couldn't tell you, but there you have it. Then we have a bit of a skit. We've got Veterans Hospital soap opera. I guess that's probably a takeoff of General Hospital, and a little comedy skit there. We get Simon Smith and his amazing dancing bear. I don't remember what that was. We have What Now My Love. That's a Miss Piggy song. Boy, she could be mean to Kermit. I mean, if you really listen to what goes on between those two, definitely not something that we should have been teaching children of how people should treat each other in relationships. It's so interesting to listen to, because like back then it was like, it's comedy, we just took it as it was, but now that stuff would never fly. Then we have a monologue by Fozzie Bear, which is another comedy skit. You know, Fozzie was, if I remember right, because I had like a Fozzie Bear, like a plushie or stuffed animal or something. And I remember he came with, you know, like the stick with the little sack on it at the end for his clothes, because he was like a hobo. And I want to say that he was probably inspired by like Red Skelton, but a little Sammy Davis Jr. in there too. Some great comedy. Very much of that time. We get Hugga Wugga Trees. We get Sax and Violence. And then we get Being Green, which is another sort of emotional, sort of like Kermit's trying to say, you know, I don't like this because I just blend into everything. I'm just a color. Then he kind of starts to appreciate what that means and what good things that are associated with that color, like spring and leaves and grass and all that. It's an interesting, again, kind of like Halfway Down the Stairs. It's very interesting when you really sit there and think about the lyrics, and you could equate that a little bit to, you know, how we're all unique and we all have unique things to offer, but yet we don't have to be singled out for being different. We should be accepted for the wonderful qualities that we have. So there's some good messages on this album, and then you get and then you get things like Tit Willow or Miss Piggy threatening Kermit if he doesn't introduce her. God, some just like really all over the place. But again, it's 1977. Okay, what do you want? I think there was a sleeve in here. I just want to double check that. I don't think, is this a gatefold? Oh, it is a gatefold. That's right. I am doing this all out of order because see what this album did to me? The other weird thing that I want to point out now that I'm thinking about it is that it doesn't, like, it starts with the opening of the television show, right? So you feel like you're listening to a live action, a drama being played out, or like a performance or whatever. But the weird thing about that is that it just ends with Being Green. There's no wrap up, no finale, no final bow, nothing like that. So that's kind of a little bit weird now that I think about it. This jacket's actually in really good shape. A little bit of wear and tear on it, but not too bad. Then we have a, you know, one of those sleeves where it just promotes the different releases from Pyre Records. Very cool. Don't really recall them. I want to say the label does look familiar, and I think this was the only label that issued it, so I must have had it on Pyre when I was a kid. But anyway, I mean, it's, you know, it's a good thing to kind of mark the comedy of the day, what children had available to them, and why we're so messed up now. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me for another episode of An Album a Day. We're cruising right through this, and got some good stuff coming up. One thing I'm trying to do is, now that I've gotten through the bulk of the like live and compilation Deep Purple albums, I'm trying to tailor those to when the album starts on Smoke on the Podcast, so I can kind of say like, hey, here's this album, and today it starts on Smoke on the Podcast. But I'm pretty sure we're going to run out of time well before some of these albums hit, so I have a feeling if I don't calculate all this right, then we're just going to end up with a flood of Uriah Heep and Deep Purple at the end, which, you know what, that's fine, because they're the bulk of my collection anyway. And so I might start peppering in some more, like starting at the end of the collection, and going backwards. So I think I've already done the new album equals 1 because I've got that box set, and going backwards from there. So anyway, I don't know. I'll figure it all out. But that's there is a very good chance of the end of the show being heavily weighted with Uriah Heep and Deep Purple. And you know what? That's fine. But you guys have a great day. It's Sunday. I hope you have a wonderful Sunday. We had our first tornado warning since I've moved here to Tulsa. Crazy storm last night, but it's really nice to just hear all this hard rain. Don't get that a lot in Vegas. I don't know what the flooding situation here is like. I know that in the desert, you do have to worry about that because the ground is so hard it just does not soak up water very fast. Where here the ground is very soft. And I know that from all the places we have that don't have sidewalks that I walk on. And so it's going to be interesting to see as I get used to this area a little bit more. But you guys all have a wonderful day. We'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.